Non siambo Ghana this year. Mamunyana Jubi Mama Kwaba sum JFA Peace 104.3 and I was gusu awutie braso sense me coachi ba breman se mufaje bre waso ne so no ye de beso mo se ne anwumre ka se bo en se be se twan ho neat 100.9 okay 101.7 ye nyina no shepa o se nkran Abeka Junction na yeso mo de afiri kopie mu e wasantemba ntamu a yennuanom hello okramu ana 101.5 na radio stations akasebwe wasomu edoso papa ene eche otwe honwi bedema Ghana enamonone social media no so ayedeja ewoso a obenya bia hwe Facebook no so peace 104.3 o comment fato ho brepamu ya gibre na ya kenkan ediama na nsem ye betodwa anwumre no nsi akasebwe mu bi ene se Ghana mampanyi His Excellency John Dramani Mahama Buna Ketem ede afiri o magane mu okwakopie mu ewo Kenya okaka bibiman empenifo ahodo a aka ho okwakoto ato adwenkwa ampo befa so a ebibiman kabo mu ko AU ebefa ne ntoma pa ede afira wo hina wada Asogile state ano ebo President John Dramani Mahama baso pa se wo so afọ wabo ne din ede amade hye wo fra no omani ji opinyin ne ho na wo betimi ene no ayadwuma Ghana Library Authority mpenifo chirim sense ma ne na mfrema mu se ne library bia ne ho no mu a Ghana akọ ho no mu a amanfo kwa kosua ade o chirim se de bia nya no kreda ene libraries ahodo atwa Ghana ho ahia da kuru bia no nipa nkọ hokra no na enye nipa be 200 ne achiri enti ne na mfrema mu no enya ade no kuru bia ewo mu o weni nsem bia ebetodwa ewo no nsia kasebui eso na ensem bi nso otodwa na watwi mu ne editie yabo ne bede ye ba behwie ede agum anim a yato ne din Ghana this week na watwi mu ene kwa wondin ene the Institute of Public Relations or the to President John Dramani Mahama nim so be no betimi bia de aboa se na be na NDC aban a omampanyini John Dramani Mahama de wona no amamuo no ebefa no ntoma pa ede afra na watwi mu President John Dramani Mahama obo nananom ahemfo ena sentwerefo ano ho ba se na ban yi mu no wabiem ade bia na soafo ebe ya enkoye no wo ho kwan se wo ka na so obi ebonjo so na wo sofo ensentwere no fo ne tetefo na wo fro twa wayampe a manaso nte na nipa no wone ne de na watwi mu ena omampanyini asoafo nse atoto o manu awie a bibia koye no omo so afana kesi mu din se wo firi ondwumadie ase National Security Coordinator na watwi mu so en Ghana for twetwe nkomo so kopie mu ewo nkwanta adwebrɛw ayiniti ewo ho na watwi mu President John Dramani Mahama disikabotin 1 million Ghana cedis eso adehye wo kantamanto asene se wonje na oye na etu wo no wo so we mu na won famboa emfa entu won ho akabi weni sembi etu odwa na watwi mu ayabo ne bede ya to ne din Ghana this week ayede eba besomwo na ensema anwumre yede ba no edos papa kasebo mu aseda enkonfama this way chocolate drink ne ohia no wose no a ene onso hie special is odwa so special range of drinks nso nie best point best assurance you to nchen ka ho bi wonyina ebo ya chidom na anadwi musomfo Sadat Muhammad Masin Konya kasebo mede eba besomwo afensem no mu nchire mu enie Ghana mampanyi His Excellency John Dramani Mahama Buna Ketem edi afiro magane mo kwakopie mu ewo Kenya wona henkuru Nairobi emu ebibiman mpanifo edi ehia a okwakoto ato adwenkwa mpo befa so a ebibiman kabo muko African Union eternity afeni AU no wonjumedie ebetumi afa ne ntoma pa edi efira na mpanifo hwani mu senya me adom wo chena kosi dei ene ne dwada so no ena mpanifo be hia na chese wodidi nkomo kwa mpo befa so a AU ko no hyehye a wode ebo ko no ho bra no esesa mapa ebetumi akoso ewo nhyehyɛ no potoka sem no se reforms na AU ko no atimi agina brane na no ene wogina so watonsa ede afa President John Dramani Mahama so wono so mbrɛ na wonfo nani monyam bepie mu ewo enhyɛmu asebi na wo hwɛ ni mu se President John Dramani Mahama kokopie mu ewo enhyɛmu yase opanyini betu nanu mutuo enema ba ko mbienu bi osusu se African Union penfo de ka won hyehye ho ebetumi aboa na AU ko no atimi agina brane no obɛhwɛ ni mu ede afi President John Dramani Mahama nkyɛn afa opanyini wo si o my Ghana na mu enhyɛmu nase no obesa akasa akirem so my Ghana ba AU hyehye yahodo mu a yonso yebo na chidom a wo hwɛ ni mu se sansem no so no President John Dramani Mahama betu nanu mutuo na wode atu adwa ewo enhyɛmu no ase na reforms ampenifo bedi ho nkomo efa AU ku no ho no afim pino ene edunsia 2016 ena mpenifo so ho daye sese abibiman ye betima fa ye ntoma padi efira ne ye de ye ho e de afiri kwasi buro ni nsemo ene hu behia se amambra ebo AU ku no ho ban no sese mapa ekosuom 2016 ene odi ho nkomo no na afei ena bre no awiedu a wo hwe ne mu se enne ene wo kina ne na de tin odi ahia obetima di ho nkomo na atumi aboa ene ye hwie benhihie wo hwe ne mu se 2063 de sanhihie nyina no betima si fom na ye adwuma yie na abibiman ka bomu ko AU ye nso betima afọ ye ntoma pa edi efira na niam ahodo ampenifo kwakohia na wadi hu nkomo ne bi ene se obeto ato adwen kwampo obefa so abibire mu nyina amaya wo abibire mu nyina no ebetumi afa ne ntoma pa edi efira titiriu ene wona AU ku no odon bi afenso so obehwe hu ni se enhyehye ya ebo AU ku no ho ku no ho bra no okokohia no so obedi hu nkomo ne enye no wo ye afiri mu na ne esefata no wodi aka ho afenso obibini a wo man mu se obu aketemu afiri mu makwakopi mu ewo man foforo so nyina wo abibire mu no aya na ho nsem no enye sa asem ketwa ene obebre na wo pevesa ne keka ho eno so no mpenifo bedi ho nkomo kwampo befa so a sa kwanside no be ye afiri ho no mo ufiri Ghana opese okọ Kenya ufiri Ghana opese okọ Libya ufiri Ghana opese okọ Algeria enkonko ye den emfa mo sanse ye nyina no ye wo abibrem afenso kwampa ekuo no befa so obetima nya sika na odabo AU ko no ho bra na wonfa won kura nto onsemu lala sulala nkonko fa ma so nkonko pesika no ni nyina no mpenifo di ehia obedi ho enkomo we ni nsamba kumbienu bia mpenifo da to monten so wo kirim se eka dodo na so di ehia obedi ho nkomo no ebi ena mpenifo abo ne bede ye nso yensa ka bia yetimu edi amamwo enti wo hwede mu se President John Dramani Mahama obekwa kopie mu ewo man Kenya wona henkro Nairobi mu na nhyemu surunkun wono nso de nani nya bekwa kopie mu ewo asie bi President John Dramani Mahama thank you to asese so obo apro ewo my Ghana for na nyina aseda ene ode ma Ghana for sabro ba Ghana for na so besere won sam tumi no na ni so de hunu ne hyehye no Ghana for nso so ombo na woto oba ma NDC amonyuko no na thank you to President John Dramani Mahama ufrase ewo fraumantamu voter region wa bro ni mpenifo di ehia no wo hene popra woda Asogili state no togbe afede otoso edunan wo bo President John Dramani Mahama baso papa se enkwan ye da ya na nkwantre esebinom enti onumanyafo James Gunu wabo ni din so mbe fraumantamu so afo no omo aka so omo de enti omo ni je ho papa na togbe afedi chirem so openyine no onim no na onim openyine so modem bo na wo kan wo sisu se openyine no obetimi na ye adwuma na wo bo adehye no so anho ba se nea etie bia no woni onumanyafo James Gunu wobeto kese na wo hwe hunu se empunto mapa ebefa no ntoma padi fira ewo fraumantamu na nokokra mu no na togbe chirem se afimpinu eni aduonu 2020 mu no woni ahemfu bi bo anan firi fraumantem kokopie mu e o mampanyina tena kesie mu na kwan o mampanyina na so afo hia o mokwan no o mani anje hokrokra na woka ho asem.
I also want to thank you for giving us someone who promises to be a very good regional minister, who even before you gave this mandate has demonstrated a willingness to work with the people and for the interest of the people. We know he will not be like the one we just had. I recall that in 2020, when Volta felt under siege from soldiers that have been sent from Accra, in a run-up to the elections of 2020, we came together, a good number of us from the Volta House of Chiefs, visited the then President, Nana Akufo-Addo, to appeal for mercy on our people. Sadly, our minister was there to grab one of our own sons, Mr. Mehu. They denigrated us and embarrassed we the chiefs. We left extremely sad. For instance, it was said that Togbe was going around the registration centers, interfering with registration, which was not true.
Ohempo oda Asogili state no Togbe afedia otoso edunan ena wodi ensemu yi etudwa na uchiri mu a wo say 2020 wa bro kokopie mu ewo mampanyina tena ye wa bren kan Ghana mampanyini na adodan kwa kufado no odi o man so no ene ye mampanyina anje o mo fe so kra enti ama ahemfo kokopie mu o mampanyina nim no o mo reho o mo ho na wo so mampanyina na ado watwa mu ehwe nanim ka chense wutogbi ena chese wo ya ban no ekwan ye fa so ye bu o man no ena wonam na chese wo keka ho nsem sa na togbe chirem se ni asada no esi ye no na ewura hono ho aba besi ne ena chese bra o mampanyini John Dramani Mahama kopie mu ewo fraumantem no o asem we nso edi tudwa ewo nhyemu no ase Ewese nyina ye ne sa afibia mu no yenyi da koro fansi ho no yedusua ho nsem yemfa endi ho nkomo International Day of Education na da suru nkui no my Ghana yenso ya hye ho fa bie Ghana Library Authority eni mpinifo dodo na na chesenhyemu yi okokopie mu ewo asie bi enam so ema adwensa publications wo kyerɛ nwoma won so de nwoma dodo na no ekokoye Ghana Library Authority fo adoye se wonje won fanhyɛ libraries ahodo atwa Ghana ahia mu ma na entibimbo na Ghana foko library ahodo mu so kokusua de wanya nwoma yesefata na watumi edi esuade na nwoma ahodo adwensa publications de kokoye adoye yi wo de basic afo mu abeye 45,000 Ghana cedis na chese edos papa na adoye ya chire no ena pinyina wada Ghana Library Authority ano ora James K na ba wakase achirim sa manfo na mwokeka se libraries ahodo wo Ghana agu ene wo nkwa library nkonko hu se be mpreders ano ma bampote ho no ma wo sua de eno ntini books ahodo wo library nyina no se bi awe na ache se ubie mu efuturu nko a ene opanyi chirim se sans ma manfo keka no enya no kure ene social media da romanti no nipa dodo na nka enkane oba libraries ahodo behwe nwomam no abafom na so no nkyere se Ghana fo gya gbakra ene okwa libraries ahodo amanfo sua de amanfo ye research ene da kura mpo no amanfo nkwa library kwankwanko sua de no na enya ahanu 200 entinsem amanfo na ma wo keka se libraries ahodo agu no enya da no kure bia wo mu
answer ni say no crepa because you cannot compare books physical material to information online ebi wo honma wo ko download the next time I will be call honmo na eni honmo ayira ba okra book dia wonim say ten bia opese wo akoye reference back obenya information e da ho twen books in the libraries let me can say is still as relevant as it was in days past until whatever information war internet so yent me find no compare the books yedugu libraries let me can say averagely even as of now there's almost 200 a day let me attend to library and more things are happening yenim say ni bia ba na ye call Google any name the more people are interested in going to the library and go akra
Ora James K Naba opanyini ye na da Ghana Library Authority ano ena wodi ensemu yi etudwa na ne kasa akire no general manager of Adwensa Publications ano Ewura Evelyn Amponsa ono so kasa ya wodi tu Ewura Haruna Idrisu animu abibia koyi opanyini edusuan so ye wobeda no say so wo print books wo Ghana oboka papa ene ye to da won so no enyansem keto antu no munyamfo yi so hwe na eto ahodo otimetete so anka wodani ebeje ho
omobeboa unim say Ghana ha yenye paper e wa ha se enti e ma cost of books no ye import paper enti e ma cost no ye very high enti parents no call bookshops na omuntimi nto books ne mankwala no enti the best aban ne so ombesan ahwe biom na first no na taxes ne niema na eni ho a assign by no ombehwe ama Ghanaian publishers and printers na taxes na edida printing materials no ema books boy den no aban behu na omoyiye fi ho na ense de Adwensa media no unim say ye tambia no edu ho a ye piki an agency bi na ya donate books to them because they are publishers and we are publishers of indigenous Ghanaian authors.
Evelyn Amponsa we penya wada Adwensa Publications ano and wodi ensemu yi etudwa na omi obene wa ene de amanubui ebesomo yen Church of Christ asafo akwakopie mu ewon sa one prisons akwakọ eduduafo adoye wo se gina so eduduafo enum wo ho aka otua ya ne wo ho so sa aborobe eja wo mu a wokofie no wo abusua akwakọhwe abomu na eduduafo num ayeja wo mo no wo ho aka Church of Christ asafo itua ya na eye 40,000 Ghana cedis enka ne sika 400 million na jumede ase no na brother Dr. Dan Owusuesiama opanyini wobo President John Dramani Mahama baso papa seniti ayeye na Ghana fo asini subie mu oba besom so mampanyini ne toso mienu afen so odumanyamfo muntaka Mohammed Mubarak opanyini yabo ne di so mbeye efisem so afo no opanyini kokopie mu vetting committee nanim no wodi tudwa se sika bia akohomasika abantua edema duduafo da kuru bia 180 pesos na wo fom enti sempenfo gi ne tum no oba beye wo so afo obehwe hu ni se sika no obedi hu komo no wapagam edi akosoro eno so brother Dr. Dan Owusuesiama ntoma ebowura Muntaka Mohammed Mubarak Abaso said duafo wadwene wo ho yi afei ne kwakura mu no opanyini gina so sre wona wo ka bi wom wona Nyankopon ato wonsam nyamsum ko ahodo se aban bo no homodin papa nanso ba kofo nsa entimi enso nyamia ni kata enti se ko ahodo da no otakokopie mu adodofia ahodo kokwe wona ya nko gidi se wasetena mu nsam no ebetumi afa ne ntoma pa ediefra
Mesre Aban and Besa believe say your interior minister for our ba. What is asking ebeka nsem a wodwendwen ho omo masika no enkosoro kakra na enipa emobo ye nipa obia from so wo nipa bia ho ne mbonne a oboa pa eye obi ade mikowi ade mekoyese ne ade no ebesere enuanom no na ne ewo abonti nyina yenkai ekase ga na mra enya dwuma nde wode wano na eka eso mini say buam wawie ya no na yehu ne esese yeye yenwene ho na yenye papa oyema unua waye ama wo ho. For example, for Jenekaya, if you do good, you do for yourself. If you do bad, you do for yourself.
Brother Dr. Dan Usu Esiama and Wujina Church of Christ as a Fonemua and Semu Odi Etuja. Na nekasa eche no staff officer wadanse one medium security prisons ano DSP Fred Kwame Insanyani wono so kasaya wo bo Church of Christ as afunu mpinu fa baso papa said the phone numa we che won ho aka ne yeja omo no omo akrampo omo ye mpinu fo mo dade dwe fie na no omo ani je ho esan so be pie mo so one prisons ho no mo aho kire ho no no enya asem ketwa empenifo said the fie ni senka afa nipa aburo so ano ahanwotwe 800 na so ne okopie mo ho no mo a nipa 3400 na cheso da ho nta ho kire ho no no enya asem ketwa
Meda the Church of Christ asi se omadwen ye ho nyese sika no abroso a ye hu dia ye de ye but aka omakoma as a church se e wase omutua the fine of image na one way or the other na aboa the decongestion of our prisons enti ne beda mo asipa nyame nhira mo ye bompa ye se ayankofa ya hyase no ebeto aso ama ademo pa na nwema kese asan aba enti ye beda mo ase nyame onhira obibia babia sika no efa mu a ebedu ye nsam no bompa ye se nyankopon obehye mo anan nyame nhira mo nyina ti ye besra nkrakra se omoso mo bebam na omabeso Ghana prison ase e de abo aban na reformation na rehabilitation na ye pese image no e de omufam ansa na mo aba back to society no na atimi ayeye.
Staff officer wadanse one medium security prisons ano DSP Fred Kwame Insanyani and wadi ensemu etuja na ne kwakura mu no aduduafo numu a wontia yeyi asafo yempenifo twa won ho aka na wokufie no ebi nso eni Peace FM twetwe nkomo na kyese woda asafo yempenifo woda wanase sana muntu watuwe wonani aso na ne wontia yeyi na wofre aduduafie na wakomonten so obehwe hu ni se obese wana brabo na won so timi abanfa so ede ama oman no na osade afutu ma Ghana fo nyina se ne won hu bi da no ene wope bia hunu ne na mom ni wahu bi da ne de wosi yechi enti wo monten so a na wabrabo no waboni yi na wokyena bi no wankonkonya aban amane
Nyame ase bebre e wa kwanya we ho ene mpanimfo a mbeye mboa na me ba na mabusuafo kra me frɛ omo a omo mfa omo ntiem nti omo nhwem na me ni obia nti me se me de ma sembe manyame ti wa sori bi wo a mo se United Church me ho ko dwan ti me ko mo se ansori ne doso ezi ene Pentecost nti me de me ho join Church of Christ na me bompae se nyame mmoa me ni buafo nti sa dum we abade am da Church of Christ for us se nyame omo kwatente o Yesu di mo amen
Media kakra me woka ne se ana efutu amede wo be ma omo nyina se omo ndi mra na ewo oman no so na omo nsum omo nyankopon na ode omo ba asase we so no yie ene na be bom medas o nyankopon hata sro ensurom enka nya omo anka megusu wo inside
aduduafo wontia yeyi na Church of Christ asafunu mpinfo akutwa won ho aka nipa num yeja wo mu achese wo kofie no wo abusuan kwakwahwe abomu no ebie ni so nsem ene wode etudwai Abdullahi Dasmani ena wo boabo amanibo ya no a wode ebesomo yen empenifo de dwumade surunku bi asehye so ewo nyankomase ahinkuru ewo asensa otumensen mu ewo mfimfima ntemu na dwumade ase no ena Reverend Father Stephen Amoa opino ye chaplain oda Cape Coast Technical University ano opinyin wono anso ne director Caritas for Social Economic Development Roman Catholic Church opinyin kokopie mu ewo ase bi na opinyin kono wankon nsapan wode nema bi ebetumi aboa na nsa ne dwuma ntete afa no ntoma pedi efira wode koya nipa duasa 30 na nema yi biribi ɛso wɔn so na nya bire di kan ya asafo yimpenifo Reverend Father Stephen Amua wogina wona namu ɛde nneɛma ya kyɛ ɛde ama wɔna wɔpɛsɛ usuansa no dwuma na kyɛ sɛ nipa duasa wɔn saka nneɛma yi bi ka ho a na kyɛ sɛ nipa 800 and 8000 mom ɛna kyɛ sɛ asafo yimpenifo atimi ayɛ wɔna ye bɛyɛ mfinhyia du entamunie na nyame nipa ka sɛ mu no ɛna ɔde kokɔbɔ ɛkɔ ɛde ama wɔna wontia yiyi na nneɛma wɔn saka bi nyinaa sɛ nyame wadom na kyɛ sɛ wonya baabi na wo sesen na wo firi dwumedi ase ahwɛ hu ni sɛ nneɛma mpenifo akyɛde ama no onkɔbɔ ni selewa onkonkɔtɔn na wo kyerɛ bi ne ɛmfa ho kyerɛ ma wo no wabusua so nyankopɔn yɛ wadom na kakra wo yɛ a wo so nsa betima akɔ no ma wo kyerɛ bi no wo so betima aba mfa so de ama o my Ghana wo ɛne wabusua enti nneɛma a wɔna wɔn nsa kan nyinaa no ogina so wo srɛ wɔn so wɔn fa nya adwuma pa na ɛsomra mfa so
Maiwa baby or no and not be binti no and to me and almost mubuku was set your boy also yansan to me abrabon abiano the so the big school you know you will say I say it seemed to one man this me say aboa Maiwa and person who said ya so much me so and not let me into your friend
Reverend Father Stephen Amua and wadi ensemu etudwa na ne kwakra mu no Mame Kembele opanyini di na nimu nyambe pie mu ewo nhemu ya sibi say special guest wono so ekasai
many different projects here in Ghana through our Rotary team. But out of all of the projects that we undertake, I have to tell you that the Sowing Seeds of Hope project, with the gifting of sewing machines to these lovely young women, it's my personal favorite project. Providing economic development opportunities is a priority within the Rotary world. And it was in 2015 when I visited Ghana, I think for my third time, that I encountered a situation that inspired our Sowing Seeds of Hope apprenticeship project.
Mame Kembele ena wode sansemu etudwa enhyemu soronko a koso ewo nyankomase ahenkuru wona opeso nsua ensanedwuma mpenfo de akade koye wona ye no enhyemu ya se na mame ede sansemu etudwa Prof Ike Bosheba FM ena wode amanebo free ya wode ebesom ye begina Prof Ike amanebo yi so na ya homeka sebo no so ye ba ye beto aso.
Tune it in, turn it up,
Peace FM,
and rip off the knobs.
Ghana this year mamunyana kwa basumdwe fie Peace 104.3 NEAT 100.9 OK 101.7 and hello 101.5 radio stations aka ensukuram enwumre nu nsiaka sebo en yabo ne beda ye de ba besum wo afi Ghana this week. Now what mu and president order the Institute of Public Relations ano Mame Esther Kuba wobo President John Dramani Mahama ba so se kuno obe no betimi bia de aboa se ne be na President John Dramani Mahama na mamuyi ebefa ne ntoma pa ediefra.
Thank you so much, Mr. President, for making time to see us. We are most delighted to have this opportunity, and I'm here, I've said, with the IPR, first of all, to congratulate you on your election again, as the president of our beloved country, Ghana. The people of Ghana have decisively given you, Mr. President, a mandate to lead us, build the Ghana we all want, and we are going to do it together. We say again, congratulations. We wish you well. We also know it will not be an easy task. We are very glad that a member of our noble institute is the president of our country.
Mame Esther Koba, opinion president of the Institute of Public Relations and within some etuja. Na nekasa no President John Dramani Mahama so edituja say and some way ye can edugun from hu hia papa and ntine mpre nusu a wabeyi wo hunu se na soafo no wo mane nye bebri na kuma bi se na be na ensem be free na ban mu apiem wonten so na be ensem ho tie na ye nokure na Ghana fo nkwaje wona no emfansi bone.
Now, with regards to government communications, you notice that there's no information ministry in the lineup of 23 ministries that we recently announced. That was partly in response to our promise to downsize government, but then it also meant that we had to be very strategic. We dealt especially with the flow of information from government, because that's critical to the success of whatever we intend to do.
President John Dramani Mahama na wachimu wode sanse mu itudwa wabra the Institute of Public Relations in Painful Kopie mu watana kesi mu mampanyini enaso ewie yemfa we inform se yenyane ntie se kabi atimota N1 so efiri La Paz na wode wani akire mu Jolu Junction so no wudu overhead honom wa se kabi firi soro atofom ase honom edintina ma wona wo free ensewom eco circle na wona wo free circle woni chirimu wachimota nsewom kwan so na ma traffic abaswa paapa enti we dia de srede posi fo mama na ase enye ntitia ewo ho ese ka no efri La Paz ho na chesene na chirimu Jolu Junction ho obi nim na ekote bayre homam odru overhead ne so no ka na free soro abetofom ase honom tama traffic abakwan so pa enti aposi fo de srede mama na ase enye ntitia ewo honom na monkonkoboa. Ghana this week ena wasugu so awutie na watwimu President John Dramani Mahama yakasa ya wo sene sentwerefo na nyamesomo mpenifo se ba waba mu obi nkonkusuru se na ban na soafo wo ye bibi na enkoyi a obekasa ho. President John Dramani Mahama say so wo ye bibi na enkoyi a wo sere Ghana fo nyina se mo nkasa ho na mo kasa ho a ebia na mpo na Ghana fo kan no kurewum na nani abaso watu ho na mo.
The government I lead is not an intolerant government. And if people speak and criticize us, we're not going to come and harass them and hound them and give them threatening phone calls. And so I believe that the church can speak freely, the media can speak freely, and we will take it as, a positive instrument for correcting whatever they are referring to.
President John Dramani Mahama na wachimu wode sansemu etudwa wabranya mesumu mpinfo bi bo anan kokopie mu mampanyina tena kesi mu a okoye ekokoma ne tirinkwa na watwinya mu so no President John Dramani Mahama soafo nsien atoto na no wi ayade omatum no omomo edin se kire Ghana fo ndwumadi eba ebifrase urumanyamfo atofo se no urumanyamfo John Jenapo urumanyamfo Dominica Yini ena urumanyamfo Haruna Idrisu urumanyamfo Eric Opoku ena urumanyamfo Kwame Agboja we ni asoafo na watwimu din se ndwumadi ebifrase President John Dramani Mahama ekasai.
While we were all aware of the country's parlous economic state before the elections, it is important in the spirit of openness and transparency to inform the people of Ghana about the true state of affairs as we inherited it. Therefore, I encourage the ministers as you assume office to tell the nation about the state of affairs in your sectors, even while you work tirelessly to lift us out of the current situation.
President John Dramani Mahama na watwimu wodi sa ensemu etudwa menteme ho ase ekoso ewo nkwanta na nam so manipa dodo na no afamu ato na nanom ewo nsedo no na watwimu National Security Coordinator DCOP Osman Abdulrazak ene na pamfo bwana kokopie mu ewo nkwanta ne kasem na wochirim se mpenifo de hyehyɛ pagu apono so a na asundwie afa no ntoma pa edi efra wo nkwanta na emu mahemfo ntem kuratwe no eho akwaku hia se mpenifo de won nasi fom na wodi ho nkomo no otu ase prekopesan se ne kofa ba inti ane enkwanta me wo hono mu a na sentokwa ayiniti wo hono mu a entimi emwa adehye no wasundwie hu nsem.
I want to sound a caution. If there are chieftaincy disputes, they need to take the correct channels to resolve them, and we will support peacefully. But if there is a recourse to violence that seems to harm the individual or the ordinary citizen, we will not sit aloof. And as a coordinator, believe me, I'll be in the trenches with you.
DCOP Osman Abdul Razak, National Security Coordinator, ena wodi sa ensemu etudwa Salamati Kuku Apentel, ena amanubwe wabone bede edi ebesomo yen. Na watwi mu kantamanto dwadi bia mpenifo nipa edumi ensa bwanan ekopie mu ewo mampanyini ena so na enam so mampanyini ne chairman eye chief of staff edi to onanim se omampanyini nyaya na nka wono mu ebedi ehia na so bibia sankwa mampanyini akwa mu a wontimi ene wo mu endi ehia na so wotwe ankwa na ngomakọ omampanyini gya no 1 million Ghana cedis so fam wo na eja ekoto kantamanto no won fam bo hɔ mu nsiesie
sebio adia odi mfie dodo aye na dakro prekope jato mu a mse ne hadwen nti omampanyini chese yema monti ase se osumu yakọ sebio ne nsunu dem se anya asemo obia emana nije na se odaso ye omampanyini de ekwan bia so ofaso a mobesimu dadam no obefaso.
Oromanian for Julius Debra, opinion chief of staff, in Ujina President John Dramani Mahama Nemua, or Nekantaman to Jadibian pin for the Asia, the Sansemi Etuja. Na Nekasa Chile, Nutinania or the Kantaman to Traders Association, Kunano, Reverend Opoku Afre, opinion so Edina, Nukuma Nemua, or so Edda Bino Asie. Na Chile Muse, Econo, any access bank, Edin Kitahon, or who says Kraban Bemo Mobosia, by $100 million, Kantaman to Jadibia Hormano, Obiti Messini Beam. Eye abefo de
chief me name impending for yebeda one impending for ase especially obampani edano jordano na nwanwampo free ketwa kosi pani so eno kire yense yensema o yaka no na homete de but on masem we na ho nche nti ampa yani gye ho ahombrase odi hia ye ene odo yi na di kire yense ada no ne egusu aye srese yebenya ade electricity for kire yense sa 25 post na on di beba abaye no ahwe ya je adwadefo ne eto.
Reverend Opoku Afre, opinion ye na etitina ni de Makantamanto Traders Association kuno ana wojina nuko mana mu ansemu wodi etudwa Salamati Kuku Apentel ana na wotwi mu amanebwe wodi ebesomo yen. Oromanian for Haruna Idrisu ana mpinfo boni din se wombeda disua so ye no ano na opinion abogana fa no ho ba se get fund sika aban eya na brano no wodi boa schools ahodo wo mpuntu ho nsem no endi saban ya waba obehwe hu no so behye mu kena na mpuntu mapatimi akoso schools ahodo atwa Ghana eho
also nostalgic. Those days in 1997, I was one of the strong advocates with many of our colleagues around here to advocate for the establishment of the GET Fund. Before then, tertiary education was largely public funded. Tuition remained free. There was no access even to private tertiary institutions. The Ghana Education Trust Fund has done its part.
Oromanian for Haruna Idrisu Tamalesao, Tamasebe Jenny opinion, and obey additional swafo, and our day and Semi Etuja. Now, watch him Oromanian for Haruna Idrisu Casabium de Tuja. Sabi be my bet my fan into a pedi Freman Puntu, Yedian and Kanko, a be Adrian and Ayabuan, and Hubawi, and Huaku here. See a timid dija, ewa your honey, your huntem, na itimibua, na you sweet me tumpon, ewo abrabum.
That many African countries are happy doing trade and business with the rest of the world than with other African countries. Mr. Speaker, it is estimated that today trade in Africa is $192 billion, a rise of about 7.26%, and this was captured in an ECA report. Mr. Speaker, part of the problem of poor trade is bad governance.
Oromanian for Haruna Idrisu na watwi mu wodi sa ensemu etuja na watwi kro ya mu no openi ya boni din se o meda so ye behwe ma emofra na emema yidi so eye Oromanian for Agnes na momola to openi wabre ko pie mu vetting committee na nimro de tuja se Women's Development Bank aban no abogan of no ho ba so de beba no eye mankwa ne beye mu adwuma na bre openi ko pie mu mra se bedwe firi ne yebisa ne se ne ko ba sa na te e kamia kwa se emema de wo ye yi o mama wu e no se enye sa na tie se de be na ma setena mu nsem ne won yi die e betima gina branenti na mpinifo si sa gina yi.
It's critically the traditional banks or banking system serves men the best. So there's an already existing financial support base that serves the interest of men more than women. And I also stated that most of the women are in the informal sector where we don't have the collateral where we cannot afford the high interest rates that are being charged in the traditional banking system. And so this is something that will go a long way to help. And I'm glad, and I know that people of Ghana are also glad. And when they see it, we'll also be glad to see it implemented.
Urumanyanfo Agnes na Mumulati odi ensemu ituja na wotwi emu. Urumanyanfo Ahmed Ibrahim na mpinufo boni din so meda so ya ehwe ahensem ene nyamsom ho sensem eho. Na opanyini wode atuja se wo ba beye wo so afu nya do be ma ho kwan. Aban na musifo mekire DCs, MCs no na mpempi no behwe na woni mrase bedwafo MPs no na woti ado anwoma so. Empuntu obi kwaso a DCs ye mia, MCs ye mia, mrase bedwani se ye mia. Opanyi chim se wo bo behwe hu nisa suje mapa. Edo fa no to mapa di fra wa ban I will
also make sure there's a common platform for DCs and members of parliament to be able to have frequent meetings for us to understand our various job descriptions. But I've been a whip. There were instances where MPs were caged in Accra for over 9 months. They couldn't go to their constituencies in the name of doing parliamentary business. So if that understanding is not given to DCs, while the MP is here doing national assignment, the DCA will be rapidly or radically destabilizing the member of parliament.
Urumanyanfo Ahmed Ibrahim, minister also afon pinfo boni din so meda so ye behwa hensem ene nyamsom ho sensem ho ene na wotwi mu wode sa ensem yi atudwa na wotwi mu Urumanyanfo rekopoku ene be also afo bede nnuane ene kwayo aso ye no ano opanyini kirem sa aban de hye miyen se ba begu apono so wode ba behwa hu ni se kwayo ho nsem ebe fa ne ntoma pa edi efrade edi kan Feed Ghana program nnuane ebebusu wo mai mu de tosum yenu Feed Industry program na chese feed dwuma hodo no obenya nnuane ene niema wo hia na wadane daniani na miabua na ennuane ho nsem etimagina brande ne tosum yensa Ghana Industrial Insurance Scheme weni hye miensa abane de egu apono so de be adwuma na kwaye ho nsem agina brande.
We want to drive this nation towards food sufficiency. And then we have also provided for another program called Feed the Industry. Under the Feed the Industry program, we want to establish a strong relationship between agriculture and industry, a symbiotic relationship in nature, so that as industry, agriculture provides the raw materials, industry will be adding value. And in so doing, we generate a lot of jobs, increase productivity. I think one issue that I have to address has to do with lack of credit that you mentioned.
Urumanyanfo Erikopoku sunafo South mrase bedwani opanyine ne yaboni din se nnuane ni kwayo aso ye no meda no ena na watwi mu wode sa ensemu etudwa Urumanyanfo Governance Kwame Agboja ena yaboni din se akwan na nkwantempo aso ye no wonda no na bre opanyine kopie mu ewo vetting committee nanim no ena wode tudwa se eka MPP aban ejaide ato hono mo NDC abeto so no 100 billion Ghana cedis nyina no contractors awaye adwuma MPP aban entua wonka
that alone. Out of the 15 billion, look at these details. In 2018, we were owing about 113 million Ghana cedi. The interest on the 113 million Ghana cedi this year will be 665 million Ghana cedi. The debt was 113. The interest on the 113 is 665 million. When you take 2019, 210 million. The interest on the 230 million is 960 million Ghana.
Urumanyanfo Governance Kwame Agboja wodi ensemu itudwa opanyine ne aboni din se bibia koyi akwan na akwantempo aso ye no ye da hye nensa ena na wotwi mu wodi sa ensemu etudwa na Urumanyanfo Kwame Agboja sa kiremu se NPP aban ekwan a waye no 367 kilometers okekanyi nyina bomu a enya no koreda so waye 13,624 kilometers na nsem opanyini kai ene nka ne akwan ne akwantempo so wafo Urumanyanfo Francis asenso boachi kiremu se Kwame Agboja asembe na wokan yen ena kyese yebesom ya yedi adwumadi abahwiye menso me ne osoafo asaso na meda no mesi akwan 3,624 kilometers ena akeka bomu mfinsha nwotwe NPP yeye na enya no koreda se 673 kilometers.
Honorable Abuja engaged himself in what I would call political optimism regarding the number of roads that the Akufo-Addo administration constructed during its 8 years of service. let me put on record that as at the end of December, the Akufo-Addo government had constructed 13,624 kilometers of road. But during the vetting, Honorable Abuja just picked one component of the road construction.
Oromanya for Francis Asenso Boachi opanyini yankane osoafo anu wada kwan ni akwantempon waso ye na no eno no ene wode ensemu tudwa na wotwimu ewo mrasibedwafie na wotwimu ena opanyini kwankere for the African Center for Parliamentary Affairs Trinity a efre no asepa no Dr. Rashid Draman wakasi echirim se vet ne ekoso empenufo aban abo ndin se entoto na no wo se ne vet ne wo ye na dwumade fa enya de koyi committee no se bi mpleduasa ase agro eno mudi ene domkuma no ensem mu ebisa no enshada emu nshada nyedu ene nshada mfakwa mu ena dom kese no so no ensema wo bisa wona yabo wondi no so no ase koko football bo yenuano no nti emfa prepare ho ano won sori nko opanyi chirim se committee na dwuma omoye no enso ani.
Our hope relies on the minority because their responsibility, first and foremost, is to hold the government to account. So, for me, as much as possible, they should try to do their background work very well, get their data and information about the various sectors, and make sure that we try to find out from the nominees when they get the nod, what is it that they are going to do, to fix some of the problems that we have in the different sectors.
Openyina ne etwagu yi eyepenyine kwankire for the African Center for Parliamentary Affairs asepa kuno ano Dr. Rashid Draman ene wode ensemu itudwa na wotwi emu Henry Kwasiminka ene de amanbui ebesomo yen wabra na wotwi mu asoafo be yensia bi na President John Dramani Mahama emu wona di nse na wodwumadie efirase no ene wode to nyina anim se wahunyade enemu omo wonhwe hunu so beda na die na empenifo atumi ahunum se na be na wo kire bi na ho nsem kokopija ankwankoba se oba aban mu no na se hunyade no wo fa aban ho na wode ato owura chief of staff Julius Debra and wo hwe se opanyini ni behwe na wa hwe sansam no ho enkaye.
One of the other things say President Obeyeno and say should live beyond just speaking to say one more declare assets in there. Go beyond that. Now even before the law comes, now publishing say, oh, ma declare me assets. Now me assets now me declare any, and I believe that President and obedi any manka yes I na ebe boapa. Now yabona abaso say I want it trimu say sadie ye na ne appointees one no a good point. Then other one that mechanic say it was said Odika was say one na assemble one then he will take action as the appointing authority to disappoint you.
Mame Mary Ada opening your kwankire for the Ghana Integrity Initiative kuna no and one also this answer me to Jan Obo President John Dramani Mahama Baso since ye odiegu apono so no ombojo so and into opinion nenkwanso na watwimu ena owura John Jenapo opanyini ena bibia koya honede asoye no ye de ahye nensa wono nso kasa bo Ghana fa no ho ba se enye no kreda sa aban na adwen ho se isi jadwumako no obeton.
We've inaugurated a technical committee to advise the ministry on the best way forward and the best model to adopt in respect of the distribution sector and how we can get private sector participation. Let me assure the nation that we have not taken a decision to sell ECG. Ours is to ensure that we get the private sector involved, and we also want to place emphasis on local participation. We want this to be done in a transparent, in an effective, in a responsible way.
Oromanya for John Jenapo ahonede so afo ena na watwimu wode saa ensemu yi etudwa Prince Bafo Asamoah ena wode amanebui ebesomo yen enka ne so afo anu wada kwan ne akwantempon aso ye na no oye bantema mra bedwani Oromanya for Francis Asenso Boache na watwimu penyine kasa ya wo sre ensentwerefo se aban sesa bae no enie obehwe na chisi kuma waboabo wo ho aban adwuma ekubi no wabo awuram na chese ye pampam wo mo ho etwetwe eja edito party atanaye mu ne keka ho openyini sre ensentwerefo se sansem ibeto wona pono so no obedi ho koma wo hwe kwampo befa so bebo ho amane edi afase na ebe na enkonko hye nipa misu kutupa na won fam enkonko ye basabasa ogina so sere National Media Commission Ghana Journalists Association say sentrani bi kwotena radio so TV so no ka ne nimu a empinfo ntwe sansem twroni no won twe naso.
The impression of tolerance for lawlessness, eroding public trust in our institutions and our rule of law. While at late, Mr. Speaker, may I take the opportunity to caution our friends in the media, crucial players in our democratic process to be circumspect in their commentaries and reportage that could fuel unlawful behavior before, during, and after election.
Oromanyan for Francis Asenso Boache Bantima Brasibedwani na wachimu wode sansemu itudwa ewo Mrasibedwafi na nekase akire no odododio Mrasibedwani Oromanyan for ni Ashikoti wono so kasa ya wode tudwa sementemo ase yekoso no se epi abɔ no so bo aban ya waba ene mbɔ no so bo.
The history of our fourth republican democracy. Mr. Speaker, you will recall that odododio as a constituency has had 8 numerous shares of violent activities. For the first time also in our history, it is recorded that Odododio went for an election without a single bloodshed. I believe that the challenge we have had as a country regarding vigilantism is the will to take the bull by the horn and crack the whip where it ought to be cracked. I stand here saying proudly that I cautioned my people that whosoever is found culpable in any act of violence, whether from my NDC side or from the MPP side, will be dealt with in accordance with the law.
Ogwa yamfum so na mmara so opechi yamfan so MPP ni anaso NDC ni emra ebetwe so Oromanyanfo ni Ashikoti odododio Mrasibedwani ena na awatwi mu opanyini nso ede sansem itudwa wo Mrasibedwafi kotofofora waba nsuo mu Mrasibedwafo ya afofrofo na opanyini woka ho bi ena ensem yi odi etudwa na awatwi mu na kwankyerefo hwenkita hodie so ede ma NPP amonyuko no wura Richard Ahiagba opanyini wokasa ede atudwa se mentemo ase yi niti wo boase na asrafo san yitu edugu ade hye so nipa enso enwotwe mu hofo mu to na nanom wonse de no opanyini chirem se pu bia bono so bo a President John Dramani Mahama ni NDC and Yambon Subo.
December 7th, yeto aba, ye papa John Dramani Mahama no wini abano. Yeto aba ni wie no, said ye NDC 4 start ya, ye bru nipa EC4 ni ye bru omo, abeto omo hwanse so ade omo party na aba. Enti de ombe ye bi ombe tumi aye, oma ya kosi, mo penifo anka hwe. Tomo sori a, abaye dwuma bi a, no makoto ahye omo so mumpie, sabaye suban wo party ni mu dia. Yenso so yete oboase a yenso baye bi. Nipa baye 9, 10, 11. Ni yekuomo ebisi new month NDC mpenifo from your papa asiedu nketia oko omo general secretary Fifi Kote ena president His Excellency John Dramani Mahama omo negligence and akofa weyaba omo tacit support for the lawlessness that possess omo party no omo ntumi anka ho hwe His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
Ora Richard Ahiagba opanyini aye kwankyerefo hwenkita hodie so edema NPP amonyuko no wode sansam yi etudwa Prince Bafo Asamwana na watwe mu wode amaneboy ebesom yen na watwe mu Mrasibedwafi asetena mu no na domkuma no ba no dani Oromanyanfo Alexander Afenyo Markin opanyini ne siade hye wafutu anamu Mrasibedwafi hyemra wo bodom kese no ba no dani ura atofo sensobo sementem ho ase yi niti na obehwe yese party atena bi yetwa agya tumbehwe na party atena bi nipa bi abawuro mo behwe abadwuma kubi yesi nipa bi abawuro no wo so owura atofo se ne free se ansem yi sha asese ekoso omonte se waka ho asem da Oromanyanfo Alexander Afenyo Markets kikabi e de atofo se na wotwe mu pa
process. What did we see? Some thugs invaded the EC office, threatening lives, destroying properties. Mr. Speaker, this is unacceptable. It puts a black spot on our beautiful democracy. Maybe today it is benefiting somebody, but tomorrow the same thugs that we are encouraging them to be lawless may come back at us. Mr. Speaker, the government cannot pretend not to be aware of this. The Electoral Commission as a constitutional body needs protection. The police, headed by the respected IGP and his team, must do all it can to protect the EC. We are aware of the good work they have done thus far.
Oromanyanfo Alexander Afenyo Markin donkuma no bano deni enwodi ensemu etudwa na nekase akire no na Dr. Atoforsen ono so kase akire mi se wa hwe Oromanyanfo Afenyo Markin asema wo kan pa no ani kire he ade esi ye wo ya dane na manyosem oboase de yi aban kura pa bedwoko wa sha ase wo ye hwehwemu entu kase ye NDC a o ka kosisen
a full-scale investigation into the matter. Second, the minority leader himself was not at the business committee for him to make that suggestion. I'm only the chair of the business committee, of which he is the ranking member. And so at any point in time, he can recommend a business for us to discuss. You have to ask yourself, why did he absent himself from the business committee? One. You also have to ask yourself once again that even though he sent a representative, why is it that the representative did not table before us to discuss the matter if he so desires that is so critical? So clearly you can deduce from his conduct that he just wants to politicize the matter.
Dr. Atuforsen na wochimu wodi sansemi etu Jamila Kwale ani William Gentu ena edi amanubui ebesomo yen abansisa ba ye wonya ne ntie se nipa ku bi waboabo ho ano adwumaku na wabawura mu yakopamo wo ho na chese ekoso pa na 2M Express adwumaku no so no wonfa wo circle ye se nipa bi boabo ho ano egbowura ho no mo aden a ye pamo mo asase ne ye age esanse abansisa aba na owura Joseph Oben we general manager edema 2M Express woni Peace FM etwetwe nkomo.
The late Daniel Chombuaje was a member of parliament for Bantima on the ticket of NPP. So they feel assassin through politics and at the Benya back in 2018. So the exchange of government and then is their time and they are going to take over. But we thought it was just a joke. On the 7th of January, right after the inauguration of the president, John Dramani Mahama, these people came in again and then there was total chaos. As we speak, from the 7th, they've been occupying our toilet facility, taking revenue on that. We've been trying to judge with them and try and resolve the issue amicably. But then today, they've invaded the place again and have driven away all our staff, claiming we are supposed to make 1 million Ghana cedis payment to them before they will give us access to work. This is something that is not acceptable and we want the general public to know it.
Ora Joseph Oben opinioni any general manager 2M Express adwumaku no wadano na wochimode ensemi etuja Clinton akwasiamu akon ena wode amanibui ebesomo yen Ghana Statistical Service mpeni for the abetudwa se emofra wonya mfinsia no emburo edun wotwe na so katima kapagro eye wonde chen aduane wo maamia no a ewobuchi aso no ekosoro papa ewo magane mu ene yesu kokupie mu ewa santemantemu eye akurufum sei ene emobu na wonya mfinsia no emburo edun sia wo ye ma ene katima kapagro no ekosoro papa ene akurufum sei ene dikan 42.0%, Amansia South 41.4%, Amansia Central 40.9%. Na kwanchirefo a wada Statistical Directorate ano Dr. Peter Techi Pepra ene Central for Kasai.
Jumadi na ye ne pesi onga o yesi o me under age o hwe mremu a na jesanka abofra undi 16 years a enu kwan se o ne be mada the same thing we be man so undi 16 years enu kwan so nya kukudro kra ne obada enso ne hu se ade bia ekoso enti eno na ne ye hwe se ekoso o man ni mu a ehinfa kra na edos o hwe map a me kire na hu se bebre na wo Ashanti region ebi wo Western North ebi wo districts a wo Western region ekati across the entire country. Say the top 10 and the bottom 10 and so but okay member on the side and also enyefe titru call Eastern Regional Krobo area ebebre o share list na am say top 10 in cry every Eastern Region na yonga esi o moni nipa bebre da afimu no and also hwa dodo na wo Gwan district ai wo Oti region
openyina ne etwagu ye Dr. Peter Techi Pepra Edu jina Ghana Statistical Service ukona nemu ansemi wadi etudwa na wotwi emu. Board of Directors of Datema Oil Refinery no impenifogu no esansa bansisa aba impenifogu behwe na wapa obijukufu fro behwe hu ni se to Tema Oil Refinery onjumadie ebetumi afa na to mapadie fra na enam so General Transport Petroleum Chemical Workers Union ekui esra ban waba President John Dramani Mahama so enka ne Board of Directors ni wogu ne die na so ema wonfa won ho totroto sanko wonpa obijuku esanse Board of Directors are ne mpenifogu omu a omukoyi enamwonsa so ena to ne dwumadie entimi enjina brane enti president empa obejuku na Board of Directors no yenye won semu hwehwemu ye hwe na ho so a wanya otie didim owura benado wusu ena gina koya na mu a oda de sredie eto mampanyinanim
enoma bepri ekoso a about a year board no na won pese wo pe
your friend is saying a strategic partner. Mo person na nko odi on sika ebe she eyetema oil refinery eju. No mo person mo ya na kire say mo person mo ni eye nkofu bi a ye yisusu se omo wo aban dada ni mu e no mo person mo de company e de ba budgeto nti ye de ano tutum company union omo twesa nti akwaye say there is katashi muasu bi ekoso ewoto na yeyi nti amantani foforo awabe ye pese ye kan say ye frɛ no on independent investigation was our board no you hwehwɛ nneɛma a wɔayɛ no na sɛ obi ye feel sɛ ekofo ayɛ bi a sɛ di entwa ya ye de ma famra kon so na ye nsada hɔ ama afoforo
Openyane ne hier twagu ye owura Bernard Usu openyiro ye national chairman Edema General Transport Petroleum Chemical Workers Union ikono ena ode ensemu itudwa na wotwe mu Prince Bafo Asamoah ena ode amaneboyi ebesumo yen yebegina Prince Bafo Asamoah amaneboyi so na ya home kase bono so yetwe ho aba
Tune it in, turn it up,
Peace FM,
and rip off the knob.
Ghana this year, emamunyana kwaba asumdwe fie Peace 104.3 anwumre no sia kasebo ena wasugusu awutie ewie kasebo no esi mosomfo Sadat Mohammed ena misim konwa kasebo mede ebesomwo na nsem ye todwa no sia kasebo mi bi ene se President John Dramani Mahama Buna Kitima from my Ghana mu a wodi na ni akire mu e wo Kenya ma mu mpinfo kodie hia no ato adwenkwanpo befa so a African Union ku no ebetumi afa ne ntoma pa ediefra Penya wada asogli state no eyetogbe afedi opanyini abo President John Dramani Mahama baso pa se penyina wapa no so mbeye wo so afo beda from mantam no ano no omobojo so opanyini no omene no ebeye adwuma Empenyufo eda Ghana Library Authority anonso dia tudwa se enya no kreda se wonjumadi agu wo se Ghana for ba wona so ebesua de ebekenkan nwoma enti obi kogina baabi na waka se Ghana Library Authority wonjumadi abrase esan social media enti a na se bi mpredua sanipa no wonim nia woka weni nsem dodo na no ene tudwa ewo anwumre no nsia kase boyi emu Naomi Obenewa George Amwako Clinton ena Peter Square ene bebo ye chidom kaseboyi ye de ebesomwo mosomfo Sadat Mohammed nie kasebo nasi no ekwamu atene DJ Young Boy ebeto aso ede amamoye mamumo enitia enyado.
Tune it in, turn it up.